Welcome to Oof My Wallet, a production of the TF Talk Network. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more. And follow us on Patreon and all other social channels at TFYLP. Enjoy the show. Greetings, pagans. It is I, Mr. Paul, and I hear myself. Welcome to Oof My Wallet, Super Oofs only edition. Yes, tonight we are sharing some rather special pieces, hard to find pieces, recent pieces, Reese's pieces.
Basically, Paul was talking a bunch of shit, and
When?
well, we're gonna see what happens.
I don't remember specifically talking any trash this time, but it does happen.
If there's enough trash talked often enough, you just get numb to it. So yeah, you have no idea that you were talking shit.
Probably right. Yes. I am joined tonight by Mr. Phil, Mr. Peter, and Mr. Rick. The dream
Happy
team.
Black History Month, everyone. I'm glad to see that our cast is as diverse as ever.
Oh yes. We're working towards a better future for TF Talk, but for now, it's just a bunch of crusty white dudes. You know, that's kind of the norm.
I can't grow facial hair.
Well,
I mean,
that's
technically, I am
different.
a minority, so
There you go.
So am I. We both have last names that end in "ez."
Well, the Ez's have it. Would one of you like to start tonight for?
no. We're gonna let our dear leader start tonight.
I have to start. Okay. Well, I'm gonna start it off.
Show us just the tip, baby.
It's gonna be just the tip tonight, and
Just the tip.
the reason we're doing this tonight was because I wanted to make sure we keep having shows, but a lot of the recent product has we've kind of shown it off. I think we're kind of, the well is dry for current retail product. You know, Kingdom, Studio Series. I think it's all been shown the past few weeks. So I was like, hey, let's do something sort of different. So I'm going to start off the Super Oof episode with something I don't think anyone else has. My problem is I might have shown some of this stuff before when it was Ouch My Wallet. So I'm kind of reaching back, but I do have a few new things tonight as well.
Wait, this is a greatest hits episode? I'm not prepared.
That's okay.
I thought this was I thought this was just expensive stuff episode.
I thought this was recent stuff that you spent money on, like Oof My Wallet.
It's everything wrapped into one. Everything. So I'm going to start us off with Toilet Bot, which is a DairyCon exclusive. Hey, you can see yourselves in the reflection.
That's my favorite thing to see.
This is Toilet Bot. This is a creation exclusive to DairyCon attendees. And as you can see, it's made of a toilet. And this was, as far as I know, the most expensive DairyCon exclusive. You had to pre-order this, and it was $100. So I bought Toilet Bot here for $100. Do I regret it? Yes. So
I seriously underestimated how oofing we were gonna go tonight, so I may need to go and.
No,
you know what?
No.
I've got an Autobot Ratchet from Return of the Fallen.
There you go.
What is Return of the Fallen?
That's how rare it is.
That's when they renamed it because it didn't test well, and yeah.
Well, I just realized it's a package sample. I didn't even realize that. I just turned it around.
Does it
See,
really
you're stealing
say?
things from the company store again.
Does it really say Return of the Fallen?
No, it doesn't.
Oh God. Okay. Well, yeah. Any questions about Toilet Bot here? Because this is a pretty rare piece, I must say.
Does he
Now-
actually transform?
Um, sort. I mean, you can make him into a toilet with legs coming out of it.
When you rub the rub sign, is it a poop emoji?
Let's see. Let's take a look.
How many gallons per flush?
I think your standard 2. You know,
Okay.
before the ban.
Yeah.
I'm
So this is
actually,
a pre-ban
you know,
mode.
I'm some sort of demon creature, Rick. I don't think I have enough heat emanating from my body to get the rub sign to work.
You are pretty cold-hearted. I'll give you that.
But yeah,
I remember when
Toilet Bot.
Fred was making those. There were a few of them.
Yeah.
There were some where the bowl was up and some where the bowl was down. Those are really interesting.
yeah, this is a custom. If you know much about DairyCon, that's kind of the allure. Is like, it's kind of a mixed bag. You never know what you're gonna get. I mean, when they mentioned Toilet Bot and it was $100, I mean, I'm an advocate of the event, so I'm like, yeah, I'll get the Toilet Bot. It was, you know, this isn't what I expected, but sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. There was
What
an
were you
exclusive-
expecting?
I don't know. But I am typically into the DairyCon exclusives. And-
I got mint and package.
Oh, you do? Wow.
Yeah.
I don't have any DairyCon exclusive.
Well, they're a special breed of item. And I keep it in... This is the original packaging. I keep it in there. And it hangs out with my other DairyCon stuff.
Is it called Toilet Bot, or does it have like a proper name?
I'm pretty sure it's called Toilet Bot. You'd have to check the DairyCon website, which has a very exhaustive history of all the exclusives. And yeah, so if you did get a Toilet Bot, like Peter said, there are variants. So if you want to get them all, you have to get the bowl going up. And another mention, there was I didn't know this until I actually checked it out. There was a Titan Master inside the toilet bowl. Or inside the, what do you call the back end of the toilet?
The tank.
The tank, yeah. So that was actually like a surprise. I didn't know that until a year later. So, Fred, you're tricky.
So did a headmaster leave an upper decker in there? Is that what we're saying?
Funny you say that.
Or is it a double header?
Because Ron just asked what TF is most likely to do an upper decker in the Toilet Bot.
Swindle.
Yeah. I was gonna say hot rod, drunk hot rod.
Double dealer.
Ooh.
Blot.
All good answers. I was going to say sea spray, so that's not a very good answer. I
like the visual of sea spray.
Yeah, how does he even sit on a toilet? Very
No, the literal spray. It is.
yellow and blue.
It's like a fire hose just going off in the room.
Well, that's how I'm starting it off, folks. A little weird, but I'm leaving lots of headroom there for everybody. So
Now, Paul, you really had it. You had set a bar, and like you came in below that bar.
Yeah, I got something pretty low bar too. So do you gentlemen mind if I go next?
Guys,
'Cause mine kind of sucks.
I thought we were talking biggest oofs.
yeah,
I mean,
this is a big oof for me, just in the sense of, number one, I'm not a high roller like you guys. I am at best a medium roller. So when I did purchase this toy at the time, it was, I think, my most expensive Transformer purchase.
when was that, Phil? Like just time frame?
About 3 or 4 years ago, I want to say. I mean, you'll know the time frame as soon as I lift this thing up. It's just kind of large, and the oof is more of like, I bought this thing to flip it. I bought this at a point in time that I thought I would be able to. This was me buying GameStop at the high. This was me buying GameStop after $300. And
was it though? Now that it's been a few years, was it?
Oh yeah. Oh no, it still is. It still is. So you'll see it. It's one of the larger Transformers that's out there. And yeah, it is Black Screws Triptychon.
Oh.
Because all the legend stuff, all the Takara legend stuff was going up in value. That's all they did. It was just like printing money. So you look at what Takara Devastator and Fort Max were going for the secondary market. So of course, it was a different colored purple. It was a different purple than the American release. So one of my friends was doing a little toy dealing at the time, and there was about 6 or 7 of us that ordered a big lot of these, and he pulls up and opens up the trunk of the car, and it's just all Black Screws Triptychons, and we were all super excited, and then we saw the toy, and then we realized, wow, this looks exactly the same as American Triptychon. And we can't sell this for a profit. I don't know if I can get my money back on this right now.
So when you say Black Screws Triptychon, why do you call it that?
Well, because the only difference, to my knowledge, between the American version and the Takara version is metallic screws on the American version and black screws on the Takara version.
Zaldron is saying, didn't BBTS clearance those out for $49?
Probably.
I think it was $79, but I mean, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Well,
Don't worry, Phil. I have one too.
It's going for a few more bucks than that on eBay right now, but I would still not make my money back.
So that was the first, to me, I was part of the Black Screw crew as well.
Yeah.
And that was the moment where we realized Hasbro and Takara were not effing around when they said they're going to do the same stuff.
Yep.
And it was a painful day. It was a painful way to find that out because all these, when patterns persist for like 5-6 years in the way the toy line exists, you can you think you can make some pretty good bets. There's risk in everything if you're gonna if you're trying to make money. But I mean, even if you're just trying to the way I look at it is you're trying to gauge, I might want this. If it's really cool compared to the Hasbro one, I want to get it now before it becomes like Legends Metroplex, which was very, very different than the original. So you kind of did yourself a disservice if you didn't just buy it when it came out because it shot up to 2-3 times its value. And I remember being like, well, that's what I'm trying to do because I want to have that toy in my collection if it's unique. And it wasn't, except for those black screws, which is all we told ourselves to make us say, oh, it's different. It's not the same
I had it.
It is.
I had it up for sale at my booth at TFCon. What was that, back in 2018? And next to the price tag, I had a post-it note, exclaiming, now with black screws.
There was plenty of screws on that toy, I must say.
Yes.
Whether they were black or not, plenty of screws. Peter, you said you got that? I mean, so you have a very nicely illustrated Japanese package of a toy you already have.
I spent a lot of money on that package.
Yeah. Rick, did you get a hold of that one?
I did not, but if Phil ever wants to sell his, he can hit me up.
Hey.
Maybe we can make a transaction.
Yeah. Yeah. The shipping is going to be a beast.
Well,
just invite Rick over to your house.
Yeah. One day I'll go to a PF Con.
We've got
there you go.
Well, there you go. We've got Baltimore coming up at the end of the year. We should all aim for that. As long as we're all vaccinated,
Not to change subjects, but I think I'm going to probably not go to that just because I need to get refunds for my Chicago tables. And I just I'm a new father coming up. I know it's a ways away. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to swing that as my 1-year trip. My first fatherhood trip where my wife has to take
Yeah.
What happened, man? It used to be cool.
I know.
I mean, I would think you'd have to spend the money on medical bills because you're purple. I don't think that's a normal skin color, to be bright purple
It's
like
not.
that.
It's not.
Yeah.
I'd imagine you'd want to spend the money on a good camera because you're all fuzzy and everyone else looks crystal clear.
Maybe on your computer, Rick.
Uh,
All right, thanks, Phil. That was a good story. I mean, I'm gonna give that an oof just because that was more of a oofy story. as far as I can tell.
It's what I'm here to provide. I'm here to embarrass myself in front of the watchers and the viewers.
Well, I mean, like I said, three out of 4. We all got the old black screw on that one, so you're in good company.
I've got all the Metroplexes, if that counts.
Oh, it does.
But those are worth something.
And
That
they're
does
cool.
count.
Yeah.
It counts for a lot of cash.
Well, and they're cool.
Yeah.
You know, they're neat.
Yeah.
It's a great toy.
Yeah, I got that show exclusive one with the gold figures in it too.
The SAGCon.
Yeah. One of these days I'll get around to opening it.
Well, Peter, how do you feel about going next? I feel like Rick wants to drop some bombs, so I'm going to let him be the.
Well, I'm
container.
really gonna have to reconsider what it is I'm gonna drop because you didn't bring the thunder.
It's just round 1, baby.
Wow.
It's just round 1.
Is that me now?
Yes, please, if you can.
Okay. I don't have a story for it. I bought some My Clones.
Ooh.
And I got the shipper box, or not the shipper box, but the display box. And it's a set of clears. It's Series 2. I don't know if you can see. It's a set of clears and a set of colors. And it came with this, which I think Rick will appreciate.
Is it the Lava Galvatron? Because I've been after the Lava Galvatron for years.
Oh! That's cool.
So that's my
I
entry
have
goof.
been after the Galvatron for years and years and years.
So
He's pretty.
was that a chase for that set?
Yeah.
It was?
Yeah. Each set, each wave had 2 different chases, and this is one of the ones for the second set.
Huh.
So
It's the best chase. It's not the hardest to get, but it's the best chase.
it's the best one. Yeah.
What
The hardest one is I think Red Alert and Dirge or something like that, and they're it's just like, okay, I'll get them, I guess, but so
I wasn't aware there were chases with the Myclones. That's pretty cool. I mean, because I've seen that Lava Galvatron. I'm pretty sure I don't have it. So now I'm like, put something. You just put something on my list, so that's cool. But now Rick needs it too.
Put a pin in it.
I'm effed.
Yeah.
I've been looking for it for over 10 years, man. So
Wow. Now you know whose house to break into to get one.
During a hurricane. So, you mind if I ask a few questions about that, Peter?
Go for it.
So that was wave 2, and there were 12 in there. Is that right? Or was
It's hang on, there are clear ones, and I'm pulling up the doodad just so I don't misspeak. So yeah, there was clear convoy and convoy vehicle mode and lava bath Galvatron and Thundercracker, I think, was the other chase for Series 2.
but the clear Optimus came with a green energon axe.
Did he?
I have somewhere around here.
those very much? I forget. I didn't realize they
Was it-
came packaged.
Was
like
it
that.
like that? Was it like that?
Mhm.
Was it clear Optimus with the green energon axe? Well, it's yellow, but yeah.
Though it's very reminiscent of the PVCs or the.
Yeah,
Heroes
same
Society
era,
ones.
same type of thing. Yeah,
They were a little bit afterwards, right? Or were they kind of?
They were concurrent.
overlapping?
Tail end.
yeah, they ran around the same time. These were, whereas the SCFs and PVCs were just Transformers. The Myclone was like licensed out to different brands, so there were like animal ones from some brand that I don't know. There were Microman ones from when they were doing the Microman stuff at that point. There were 3 series of Transformers, and there were a couple other things. And they all have interchangeable, you can pull them apart, pull their arms off, pull their legs off, change their stands around. The stands all interconnect. You can just mix and match them and fiddle with them. So yeah, it makes them fun. You can do that same thing with the PVCs, the SCFs, but you're going to break them.
I tend not to like cute stuff, like the cutie stuff, but these are nice. I do
These-
like these.
Yeah, these ones and like the Robot Heroes were the same scale-ish, different looks, but I really like those too.
Yeah, I thought the colors on those were cool, and it was one of the first chibi things we got, and I'd say they're better than the later, like really small chibi guys that came out.
The anniversary looking guys.
Yeah, they had like the Decepticons were all purple, and like the alternative versions of them were clear purple and clear red for the Autobots, but they were like really small. I don't know. My clones are cool, and it's like a pretty expansive toy line, as you were saying. It's not just Transformers. It was quite a few things.
Yeah, I don't plan on going outside the Transformers on these. I might get a couple of the Microman ones if I can find them for cheap, but Transformers.
Did you private sale on those or eBay or?
This was eBay.
See, Rick, you could have gotten it. Could have. Just got to be looking.
There's so much to get, man. It's hard to keep up with the new stuff. Let alone go back and like get old stuff.
Yeah, you're spread. We're all. I think Rick's in the same boat. We all are. Where you want to get stuff that you've missed in the past, but at the same time, you're trying to keep current so you don't miss that thing that's coming, whatever the thing is. So you're spread all thin, and your brain's going in 400 different directions.
Spread thin like butter over too much toast.
Well, Rick,
all right. Well,
what do you think?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna scale it down. What I was gonna do tonight. I'm still gonna show off my oof that I showed the other guys after we went off the air. But I'm gonna scale down the other things I was showing because Paul disappointed a little bit. So $100. So I have Pink Box. Pink Box
What's
is
in the box?
Can anyone guess what's in Pink Box? Paul, you might want to take a guess what's in Pink Box.
I mean,
it's
I'm gonna be
Starscream.
Wrong. No, it is. Oh, Jesus. So that's
so it's Starscream in the Toys R Us reissue box, and then so this is a Barbie box. This is a sample box that was made from a Barbie box from Mattel. You can see the Mattel. They just took whatever cardboard was laying around, but it's a prototype Starscream from the reissue inside, and it is sealed. This is from the Toys R Us reissue, and it's the flap is in the shape of the actual release.
The box art.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So there it is. There's a seeker that you can try and add to your collection if you'd like. So
why did that? Can you explain to the viewers like why that exists? Like what is?
All right, so this is every toy gets a sample package. So before they print a box, they have to cut a box by hand to make sure that it is going to look the way it's supposed to look, and they send that sample over to the factory, and then they take that apart, lay it flat, and they create a die to stamp out the cardboard. This must have been an extra one because these are pretty much all destroyed in the process of creating the final box. So I'm not sure how this one escaped, but here it is.
So I've seen I actually own something like that, different package, but and different toy inside of it. Do you think that's a product of like a certain era of toy production and Hasbro? Like they would not? Do you think they still practice that particular idea of taking whatever they can and just making the sample?
Or is it digital?
Yeah, it's a digital.
Well, you still have to create it to make sure you have a physical copy to examine and sign off on. So whether it's made from existing packaging, a lot of times it's made from this could be G.I. Joe packaging that was just cut up and reused. It's just they need a certain size cardboard, right?
Yeah.
So I would say the fundamentals are still there, but in the time of COVID, it might be whatever you have laying around your house. I have never compared the trays, so I don't know if the trays are the same, but I'm gonna take a guess that they are.
Can you see the missiles in there? It'd be interesting if they were not the crazy long reissue missiles and they were something else.
Let's see. It's got all the parts in there.
I think they're kind of hard to see.
You know what? I cannot see. I can see everything but the missiles. I can see the landing gear. I can see the tail wings. Oh, the missiles are underneath the Starscream.
Just open it up and look.
Yeah, just open it.
It's actually long missiles. Yeah, I can tell.
It's the long
long
missiles.
missiles.
Okay, cool.
It's the long missiles. Yeah.
Oh, that's
So-
pretty cool. I mean, I was gonna say, is it a Starscream? So that I would have been sort of right.
It's Starscream.
Yeah, those are awesome because those are those are like prototypes essentially, but the fact that they're in progress essentially, pre-release toys, those are always really neat to find. Were you?
Not something.
Go ahead.
Not something you see out in the wild a lot.
No, not very often. The one I have is it's kind of from the same era. It's the Sam's Club Starscream and the Red Alert or Prowl. Or whatever. It's like a 2-pack. It's really big.
Yeah.
So they built it out of a Unicron box, like an Armada Unicron box.
Oh, cool.
So,
Cool.
just kind of funny.
Yeah,
It's the
that
same
would
sort
have
of
been a
thing.
few years later. Yeah, that would have been a few years later. Yeah, that's cool.
And I think I bought that off eBay, weird eBay stuff. Well, Rick, you just came out guns blazing. I guess.
Well, I toned it down a bit. I toned it down a bit. I have a couple things here, and I wasn't sure what I was going to go with, so I went with the low end.
Ooh. Well, I got a package today, which I didn't really realize was coming. It was not the impetus for this episode, but I was like, oh, that's great. So, back when Rob was hosting the show, I got a pretty big oof at the beginning of the year. So that must have been last, I think 2020 or 2019. I don't remember. But I got some rare Starscreams that were, I don't know if they're factory samples or they are gifts to employees. There's multiples of them, but they were never regularly released. So I went back to that guy, and today these arrived from Mr. Artfire. These are like what you just showed. These are reissues, but the Japanese versions. And here's an all chrome G1 Starscream, even see all silver.
Yeah. The long-time Texas.
Yes, and this is the black. It's like a smoky clear. It's still Starscream, but it kind of looks like a ghost Skywarp in a way. But the nose cone is actually this might be the nose cone is blue. So yeah, the even though the shoulder things are silver, they're just unpainted. So they the red one is just paint over top of the metal. So yeah, pretty exciting to get these. These are fun.
How those exist?
How do they exist?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a few of these pop up at this point. So
there's like for every issue there's a whole bunch.
Explain the term
Right.
lunchtime special.
okay.
So lunchtime special this is not something, and I can verify this because I asked Yoke-san personally about these, and I showed him a bunch of pictures, and he was very upset about these existing. Basically, when the factory shuts down for the day, the shift manager will take the mold and run a few figures, and he'll make them however he wants to make them, with the pure intent of selling them. And so they've been nicknamed in the fandom as lunchtime specials, where everyone leaves for lunch and then you just do what you want. So these were no way, shape, or form ever made by Takara Tomy. They were made by the shift managers at the factory.
But
They were made on the line by the molds using the equipment, but they were not officially sanctioned or allowed by. Right.
Correct. They were made from the official molds, but they were never prototypes. They were never samples. They were never like lucky draw things. They were just made with the intent of, hey, we have this mold available. No one's looking. Let's make a few things and sell it.
So, Rick, if I hear you right, what you're saying is if I learn Vietnamese and go overseas to Vietnam and get a job as a shift manager at a factory, I can make my own exclusive toys for the pure intention of flipping them for a few extra bucks.
PFCon exclusives.
This is a very specific era because they didn't exist before and they haven't existed since. So it's safe to assume that the person or the system that was in place that allowed for these to be created is no longer there.
Yeah, because the guy made enough to retire. I think that's the moral of the story. He's rolling in it.
You know, Chinese money, he'd sell it to someone, and then that someone would sell it to people like us for, a couple $100 to a couple $1,000 a piece. So, yeah. Tintin happy.
Tintin
you
happy.
Do that 100 times.
Tintin happy.
So yeah, that's the legacy of the lunchtime special. I mean,
it's beautiful, and they're very.
And
they're made from mold.
So how did they get in the box? Because as far as I have heard from you, the box, and as far as I can tell, is that once
extra box is sitting around.
Well, the toys get made first, right, and then they make the packaging afterwards. Would you say that's correct, or is it all kind of in line together?
It's the packaging's usually made somewhere else and then shipped.
Okay.
So, but they have to have the packaging done first in order to comes off the line, it gets assembled, and then right into the box.
So they have a pile of boxes just sitting at the end of the line. So they get the toy, they finish the toy, they put it together, and then just put it in the boxes already sitting on deck. Okay.
Well, that would make sense. I mean, I've also heard that these were very limited, gifts to employees. That maybe.
No, they would give employees lucky draw figures.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yoke-san was pretty angry that I had all these pictures available to me and samples that were in my possession, or maybe still.
Sorry, Yoke.
It's not happy that people were doing this.
Well, it was a pretty cool time period, I must say, because all this stuff was making news back then.
It was years before I worked at Hasbro. But I asked him about it at a BotCon, and then I asked him about it again once I was at Hasbro, and I got the same answer.
And to be clear, this era was the Toys R Us reissue and the Takara collection box-ish era of the mid-early 2000s.
Yeah, but these were made from the Takara runs, not from the Hasbro runs.
Okay.
Those were produced at separate times. Same mold, same factory, just produced at separate times.
I almost feel like if that... Yeah, I was going to say, I almost feel like if that...
Go ahead.
I almost feel like if that happened today, Hasbro would probably end up... I feel like Hasbro would then, like, a year or two later, we're getting a select version of one of those toys. I mean, because they are so cool. Like, I would want a chromed out Starscream. That sounds awesome. And you're taking it out of the box. Okay, that's the thing.
Already cut. What am I
saying? You're
okay.
That's someone else's show. You can't do that.
Well, he's here, so that's a nice
shiny
boy.
I've seen this before.
Wow.
I can't recall if I've ever seen the Skywarp looking one.
Well, let me tell you something, Rick. This is my second one. I bought the other one from your buddy, Tony.
Okay. I know who he got it from.
Long time ago. At a BotCon.
Yeah. Well, I know someone else who has the chrome one.
Yeah. There's been a few.
And he you know what? And he takes all the missiles out and unscrews everything and just displays it all.
Well,
but you know what? Cool. He got these back when like Tintin was like, it was different with him because Tintin would charge him like $400, and then I would go to Tintin and he'd be like, "It's $600 for you," because I wasn't buying in bulk like my buddy was. It was like every single thing that you have, send me one. And he still has these, and he's not into Transformers anymore, but he still has them because he can't sell them for what he paid for them.
You know what would be an amazing interview if we could get it translated and everything, is finding Tintin happy. He's like a ghost. No one knows who he is.
Maybe it's a group of people.
Maybe. I bet they're happy.
Maybe it's a girl.
So those were expensive. Let me tell you that, Rick. Those were not cheap. They cost a lot more than any price you mentioned. Because
so far
it's 2021, it is not 2001.
Oh yeah, we're talking. Yeah, well, there's inflation.
We're talking 2021 bucks.
Yeah, I mean, this was like 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this was about 20 years ago. All right, moving on to Phil. Felipe.
All right. I've somewhat shown this toy in this show before. It is not a Transformer. The only way I can, try and keep up with you guys is if I go into drunk Phil mistakes.
Let me stop you right there, my friend. It's not about keeping up. It's not about who has the biggest dick. We all collect our own ways. Our collections are all different, and they're all special to each of us. I just felt that there was a little, pause, oh, I got a package from.
Oh no, I wholly appreciate you taking Paul down a peg. I try to do it on a daily basis. I will say, if we're comparing sizes, this next one is both long and thick. So it is.
Anna just loves hearing this.
Yeah, I think Anna's seen it before.
Is it?
So it is the Dino Riders Brontosaurus.
I see a big blue there.
What's that?
I see a big blue vein.
Yeah. It's
it's like a fork on the road. Yeah, that's on my hit list.
Yep.
Man, I haven't actually seen that. That is super cool.
It is gigantic. I mean, probably close to 3 feet long, if not more, depending upon if you extend the neck here.
Dino Riders Brontosaurus.
Yeah, Dino Riders Brontosaurus. It was a mass release toy. There is a version of this that is a prototype that exists with a different armor set that I think maybe like one or two of those prototypes exist. But I was drunk on eBay one night and saw this. This is not a complete version. I had to buy the figure separately later on, and this is missing a couple parts and pieces that I will eventually want to go and get. But saw this on eBay, thought it was a good price, threw in a bid, not even paying that much attention to it. Didn't think my bid would win, and my bid did win. And then I kind of realized maybe why other people weren't bidding on it, because the shipping was $150. So on top of the money that I did drop, I had to then drop another $150. And then I'm like, well, now I want the figures to go with it too. So that was about another $100. And I still need to get the belly strap that goes underneath it. There's a couple chairs and guns that I need to replace on it. So I will. This is like my car that I'm working on in the garage that I'm slowly building out and parting it out to get it to its full glory. But yeah, that's by far and above the most expensive toy I've ever purchased. And I had a decent year of income the year that I did acquire it, so I'm not losing too much sleep over it. But that is my white whale brown dinosaur.
It's a great analogy.
Great piece.
Yeah,
that's a great piece. I remember. I got a story about that piece.
Please
share. I moved from South America to Miami, and there was a toy store chain called Kitty
Why do I
City.
feel like this was some sort of drug running story involved in this? Like going from South America to Miami sounds like you're running drugs.
Yeah. So my mom took me to Kitty City to buy a Nintendo because I really wanted a Nintendo. And I walk in, and Kitty City was going out of business, and it had tons of stuff for sale. So I walk in, and I passed the Transformers, and they had Headmasters, they had Action Masters. I kept walking. I wanted a Nintendo. No matter what, I wasn't leaving without a Nintendo. $100 for a Nintendo with Duck Hunt. We walk to the register, and there I see a top, like, behind the cashiers. They've got box pterodromes. They've got a whole wall of those Dinosaur Brontosauruses.
Dino Riders,
Not dinosaurs. Dinosaurs were only in South America. Different oof.
Yeah. Those would be a significant oof these days as well.
I know a guy in town who has a couple of them here in Tampa.
Wow.
Yeah, he
So
flew to Brazil and bought them from some guy in Argentina or something. Yeah.
Wow.
So this was early 90s. Early 90s, and they had all that back product.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So did you get it?
No, I wanted a Nintendo.
Ah, big mistake.
On that note, I was buying.
How late
That's
to
an
the
oof!
game were you on Nintendo?
Say what, Phil?
That's an oof because it was a Nintendo.
Well, I mean,
But like my question is like, you know, this is what, like 90, you know, what I can't tell from the year you're describing, but like again, my question is, how late to the game were you on getting a Nintendo and Duck Hunt?
Well, I lived in South America, so it was hard to get stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So, like, it was you know, it was a little tough to get the latest and greatest things.
I didn't get my Nintendo until September of 1989 when we moved from Alaska down to the lower 48. And on your note, Rick, about seeing Action Masters and Headmasters in the stores at the same time, similar thing for me. I was buying Action Masters at the same time that there were still Aerial Bots, Throttle Bots, and Technobots on pegs. And I was like, well, I'll just get all of this.
sounds wonderful.
So it was great. Because kids were into Turtles by then. They didn't care about Transformers, so they just sat on pegs, and I could just buy whatever the hell I wanted. It was pretty great.
Waiting for time travel to get invented.
Oh, my God.
I found my G1 Ape Face in like 1992 at a KB Toys.
That's how my Dreadwind was the same way.
Yeah.
He was like marked down to $7 or whatever. I'm like,
yeah. And I was just like,
I found a G2 Inferno coloring book in like some department store in like 1996. It was 97 cents, and it wouldn't ring up. She didn't know how to price it.
Because at that point I was already 15 years old.
7 cents.
Yeah,
Clearance.
they changed the barcode standard at that point, so it didn't ring up.
The barcode from the original one was just 3.
Right.
This is item 456. Those are all great stories. That's what I love about this show. You know, doesn't matter if there's rules or what we're talking about. You never know what'll come up. I think that Brontosaurus is crazy awesome. I haven't actually seen it. Sounds like I like the analogy of the car in the garage project. You know, that's your Mustang or whatever.
Slowly building up to its full glory.
While you were talking, I was looking at the price on the parts that you're missing, and what it might cost me or any one of us who don't have the piece yet to just jump on in. I'm sorry. Oof.
Might as well buy a car.
Oof.
Yeah, the belly rubber band is those things, like most rubber parts from that time period, they disintegrated. So I about 3 years ago went on a Dino Riders binge, and I did find a couple with the still belly straps intact. So it's I think I only have one of my Dino Riders that I have now that had a belly strap that actually does still have one. All the rest, even if I do have the belly strap for it, it is since disintegrated to that it doesn't actually latch on like it should. So
the sad fate of toys. Did you ever see any of those come through your old toy shop, Peter?
We had Dino Riders, but not the big Brontosaurus.
Not the Bronto. So a very rare piece indeed, Phil. A good showing, I must say.
Thank you.
It's a good story.
And again, I owed all the alcohol.
Great, kids. Peter, how are you?
Is it me? Oh, I'm okay. Okay, so this next thing, it wasn't terribly expensive, and I don't know if it counts as an oof or not, but it might be too shiny for you guys to see what I'm doing here. But it's this. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Ooh,
See something Optimus Prime and
It's
Megatron?
Japanese
very nice.
G1 artwork somehow.
Japanese G1 Shitajiki pencil boards.
Whoa.
Nice.
So these are
Beautiful.
sold. Yeah, they're and it's the 1985 Tatakai ones, and you've got
Beautiful.
Prowl and Megatron and Convoy and Starscream, Laserbeak, and then on this one you've got Inferno, Megatron with a sword.
You mean Condor?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Condor. Thank you. And Convoy and Inferno. Yeah. So like, Megatron has his sword and his goofy cannon, like the microchange cannon. And so these are like, kids would put these under their paper when they're at school or whatever. Put it over your desk, put it under your paper, and you write on it. That way, like, you can protect the desk or whatever. And so I've got these two, which are from Tatakai, and then I've got this one,
Oh,
which is from Zone.
Masters.
Yep. So it has has some of the Zone mentions on it. And you can see like the Zone microzone base. And Galaxy Shuttle's up there in both modes. Galaxy Shuttle's over here, and it shows like the whole cast of everyone that was available in 1990, and then a preview for the Battlestars guys that are coming out next year. And on the back is a little
sweet
play pattern thing, so you can play with your Micromasters. You can like drive them around, and the Rescue Patrol is here, and and more little Zone logo stuff up top.
Is that a pencil protector? Is that
Yes.
a desk protector as well?
Yes, I think I have about 10 of these now.
Wow.
And the ones that I have, go ahead.
I said they're gorgeous.
Thank you. Yeah, they came out. They did a few different ones for each series. The ones from Tatakai don't show any toys; they just show the box art. But the ones that I have from 2010 and Headmasters and Master Force all have like a piece of art on one side, and on the back it shows you all the toys for a certain assortment or the toys for a certain year. So I have one that's just Headmasters toys and one that's just Target Masters toys, one that's just Combiners from '87, and it shows like all the crazy scrambles, like Abominus, Computron mixed up and things like that. It's really, I'll dig them out and show them. They're at some point they're really cool. So yeah.
Is that like the Japanese equivalent of the toy catalogs we got in every toy in the U.S.?
No, I think these were available like it's at just like counters at shops. You just like add-on purchases or whatever.
7-Elevens.
Yeah, exactly. Because in Japanese products they have their own posters that were pretty close to the type of thing that we got here.
Oh, okay.
Damn, Pete, you turned it up a notch, man. I'm gonna have to. Ooh.
You poked the bear.
I love stuff like that. I love stuff like that. The
put a whole inch in.
Hmm?
All right. Well, I'm gonna turn it up a little bit, baby. I got White Box.
You scared Phil away. White box now.
White Box.
That looks familiar to me, but I can't quite place it.
White Box looks familiar to you?
It's small.
White Box.
Is it Lucky Draw Moon?
It's from 2004.
So it's a Micron.
I didn't know what this was. I didn't know what was in this box, so I had to cut the tape on it.
That's okay.
Because I wanted to know what was inside the box, because there's no knowing what's inside the box. All the box says is Transformers Collectors Club official Transformers Collectible Club figure.
Oh, so it's the first of the. If it's 2004, then it was that Jet dude Breakaway.
So I wasn't sure what was inside of it. I'm like, what is this? I've never seen this before. I need to open this. And I opened it, and I actually recorded myself opening it. This was like years ago. You ready?
Yeah. Oh! Oh! I know what that is. That is a rare
Does Peter know what it
thing.
That's a Mega SCF Skywarp.
That's the Mega FCF Skywarp that was supposed to be the Oatfuck Collectors Club exclusive.
Oh, was it?
Yes, it was.
Wow.
You've sufficiently turned it up. We're playing now.
So like So I'm a character collector. I just want to give you a quick story on that because I know exactly what that is. Although I didn't know it was a OTFT thing. So, I'm a big character collector advocate, but I try to always warn people. I'm like, almost any character you pick, there's one or two almost unattainable items. So beware. And
just can't.
With Skywarp, that's the one.
That's the one.
That is amazing.
And what was crazy? I actually found this today. I was just you know what? It was because it's sitting on my Human Alliance section, on my movie section. I'm like, what the hell is that white box? And I pulled it out. And I'm like, oh, this is perfect for tonight.
Yeah.
So how did you come across that one?
Things happen sometimes. So, don't worry about it. Don't worry. Why would you? Don't worry about it. Don't be that guy.
Just make
I want to be that guy because I want things like that.
You gotta have a pocket full of made up stories, Rick, when you don't want to give the real answer.
All right. Let's see. I was walking one day in a factory and I looked down and I saw something and I picked it up.
There you go.
And it was in a box.
And I'm like, what the hell is this? It was, and I looked around, and it may or may not have been like under a pallet, like sitting under some water bottles. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's trash here. Picked it up. I'm like, oh, Transformers. Like, what the hell is this?
So did that come with the Megatron gun?
Yeah, it was in there. You could see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the purple fist.
Ooh, Theo! That's hot stuff. That's the kind of stuff people came for. Zaldron says it fell in your bag one day.
It fell in.
No.
There's a story to it, but it's for private ears, for friends.
Fair enough. Very exciting.
The real, yeah, that was a made up story. The real story is for friends.
Man, so I mean, I remember seeing samples of that in like they were soliciting it or something as a special Mega SCF.
It was mentioned in like Lee's toy review or Tomart's or something. It was mentioned in a magazine at some point when they were hyping the con that year,
Yeah.
and then it just never.
They showed it at one of the conventions. I think they showed it when they were selling the Sunstorms, the PVC Sunstorms. I think there was one on the table, but they never showed a box for it. They never showed the packaging. I think it was if you signed up for the second year of the club, you got it for free. I think. Either that or you had to sign up for the club and then you had a chance to buy one for I think $100. I don't know what it was. It was something. It was one of the two. But I mean, there's one out there that was on display, and then there's one that's in a box
in your basement.
So I don't know. In my basement.
That's very cool.
So,
that's very cool. I guess I better bring the pain now.
Oh, don't worry. I'm still loaded over here.
I'm sure. And it's not a competition. It's just a fun night of dudes hanging out. So
yeah, says the guy who.
I think I've shown my lucky draws before. So have I? Does anyone remember?
I don't recall you showing lucky draws before.
On the show, no.
I got a couple sitting in front of me right now.
Well, I don't like bringing out weapons of mass destruction because that hurts people. So I'm gonna show this instead. Which, can anyone tell me what this is?
Oh,
the Gig Jet Robo. Yeah.
As a kid.
It's Jet Robo, but what's special about this?
It's the Italian version.
F-15 Aquila Transformer.
Hey, it's the Aquila.
Takara.
Yeah.
Old school logo.
It's beautiful.
It's
gorgeous, man. Why would you get it graded?
It's not graded. It's in a sliding bottom. I mean, you,
That's
you,
gorgeous,
you can't
man.
really grade Diaclone stuff because it never had tape. So really the reason I grade stuff is just to protect it from if I move and have to move stuff around,
And to bother Nick.
and to annoy Nick. But like, because I've gotten stuff graded that comes back like ungradable because they say it's double taped or something. I'm like, well, whatever. Like the grading is just like an extra cherry on top, and I don't want. Getting custom sliding bottom cases is actually way more expensive than just sealing it up. So, but I got a lot of these because I have a lot of this same size box. Anyways, the thing I think is so cool about this, although it's Italian, it's like a transitional item between Diaclone and actual
And
licensed
Transformer.
actual licensed transformers or transformer or whatever. This has what we call the bopper missiles, which for some reason in Italy, they were taking child safety seriously, and they didn't want people kids swallowing the missiles because all the the spring launch things. And I think I'm getting this right. If I'm not, Peter and Rick, feel free to just cut me off.
You're right there.
But in Italy,
I got a jazz.
in Italy, they made this special missile that had a big rubber end on it that was harder to swallow or go down a young 2 or 3 year old's throat.
You can still swallow it.
You could.
Give me what you got. I'm swallowing
You
it.
could still swallow this dude here, so I don't know.
Yeah.
So there's bopper missiles on this, which if you look real close, it is the Diaclone mold. The wings go straight up to the black rotator peg thing, and I'm pretty sure I've been offered a lot of money for this, and no thank you. But
that is a gem.
I'm happy.
That is.
I got this off eBay many years ago. Probably paid $300 to $400 for it back then, and it's in absolutely impeccable shape. It's wonderful.
It's over $1,000 now, easy.
Yeah, I mean you can even see
it's
the styrofoam.
Gorgeous.
The styrofoam in here, you can still see like it's fresh cut. It's great. Never been touched.
That's a gorgeous piece now. All right, Paul, we need you to turn it over to Phil so Phil can top that. Phil.
It's
I can't top that.
That's
What I
right.
do have next to me,
Let's see
kind
what
of
you got.
Peter inspired me to go grab these. None of the rest of you have them. Nobody else has these. I'm the only person that has these.
awesome.
Yeah. So on top of Transformers, I'm a big comic book art fan. I have a lot of commissioned artwork. Not a ton of original art from the books, a few pages. I tend to like stuff that is commissioned artwork. And a few years ago, Andrew Wildman did a Patreon where he was selling, new art that he was doing for all the Transformers from the source book. So I subscribed to that Patreon. I have several, probably about a half dozen of the pieces from that. But then he had done some early pieces to kind of show like, this is what I'm trying to do. This is what the goal of this whole project is. And the more people sub, the more we can do. And so on top of the pieces that I got from the subscription, I bought a couple of the pieces that he had done for like the preview. So we've got an 8 face here in the 8 form. We've got Afterburner, who is one of my favorite Transformers. I love his alt mode, although as a robot, it's fairly generic looking. But I've got Nightbeat, Predaking, Nightbeat, Predaking, Pipes, Blots are I think the other 4 that I have. That I got through the Patreon. But these are pieces of Andrew Wildman original art, not from back in the day. Again, this is maybe about 5 years old. But one of a kind pieces. So I'm pretty pleased to have them. They do sit in a box right now in a bin with most of my other artwork. I only have about 8 or 9 pieces on display. But it is something I'm very excited to have. I do have a good collection of Transformers artwork, some stuff from Milne, from Roach, Kaizama. I got a Devastator from her when she was at TFCon that I love. I do have actually one more. Hold on, I'm going to take you on a journey here. Give me a second. All right, so I do have a framed Transformer art piece from the Dreamwave days.
Oh yeah.
And this is
Not a
my
lot of
buddy
people
suggested the
appreciate
framing on
Dreamwave,
this. So
I can't see any.
I lost Phil's camera.
There you
There
are.
we go.
yeah, so we've got
Ooh,
Kickback
ew.
and Shrapnel.
Nice.
From Shrapnel, I'm sorry, from the Dreamwave sourcebook days, from Mark Brooks, who is a pretty big artist these days, and at the time he was kind of new to doing more published stuff, so I was able to grab this from a convention for a pretty good price. But again, about a dozen or so Transformers original art pieces that I have.
That is beautiful, and I want to commend you on having it properly framed.
So
I'm
that
very
I
big on-
can't take 100% credit for. A very good friend of mine suggested framing it like that. I am, very much indebted to him, and there we go. Very much indebted to him for that suggestion, because it turned out great. I probably need to get a little bit better quality glass, because the original comic book pages themselves have started to yellow, but the artwork itself is still in good shape. But
here's a tip for that: find a framer who puts that in a plastic sleeve before they frame it.
Yeah.
So what my girl does, she puts it in a plastic sleeve, and then she'll mount it, put the mat over it, and then I usually get like the museum quality glass, which is more. But if you just go with like regular UV glass,
okay,
it's great. It's great. So yeah, just have the same thing done for animation cells. Have them put it in a plastic sleeve before it's mounted, and with the mat over it.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is the original art itself hasn't faded. It's just the comic book pages, which honestly, that probably would be. I mean, I'm sure I can go on eBay and find it, but it's not like I can go to a regular comic book shop and find that old Dreamwave source book from 15, 16 years back.
I mean, those were tough to find in the day when they came out.
I had the Transformer stuff on my pull list, so I had them all. Those 2 pages are from my original copy of that issue. The Andrew Wildman stuff, the Mark Brooks stuff. So kind of the cross section of my artwork and my Transformers fandom.
That is awesome.
Well, I commend you. You have surprised me and impressed me.
You know what? And here's the thing: like, I didn't even think about it until Peter was showing off his own stuff like 10 minutes ago. I'm like, oh yeah, here's something I got that these dudes haven't seen. So Paul's seen some of my collection with that. I have 2 pieces that actually 3 pieces that I have for Paul. I have another 8-face sketch.
All right.
We're gonna see next
All
time.
right.
This is part 1. This is part.
No. We actually. We touched upon that at the PF Con 2020 thing a few weeks back.
Phil's a big supporter of artists, and that's not all the Transformer art he has in his room even. So you got to keep some things for the next time. So.
Yeah, I'll save some pieces. I got the Devastator. The Devastator by Kaizama is. That thing is really, really impressive. That's probably my favorite Transformers piece I have is that Devastator she did from.
She's really talented.
Yeah, and she sent it to me from Japan. So I commissioned it from her at TFCon in Chicago in 2018. She wasn't able to finish it at the show, and I've done this enough times, and I'm just like, hey, let me prepay you, let me give you the money up front. So now you've got the money, you kind of like you can back out, and some artists will like, dude, I can't get to it, let me give you the money back. But most of the time, once the artists have the money, they're just like, shoot, I kind of want this money, need this money. So yeah, I'll just do it for you. So she shipped it to me from Japan, and I've always had tremendous luck whenever an artist ends up deciding to take a sketch home and finish it at home, because they put in, they just have more time. They have more time to do more detail and more work.
Less distractions.
Yeah, the one artist who I tried to get at TFCon, what was it, 2015 in Chicago there, 2014, 2015 in Chicago, that I wasn't able to get a piece from her. And I don't even know if she does much comic book work anymore. The artist who was doing the Windblade book.
Sarah Stone?
Sarah Stone, yeah. I couldn't get on her list, and she's. I haven't looked her up in a while, but maybe it'd be easier to get something from her now because she just doesn't. I don't think she's doing that. I think she's doing like more digital and video game stuff, but. She is one that I would like to probably maybe look her up tomorrow. Although I did just buy a couple pieces this week that are I had a chance to get some fans toys, Stunticons, and a chance to get some original artwork, and I did original artwork this week.
Nice.
Yeah. Those Stunticons will always be there, man.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
I mean, there's always going to be new Stunticons in a year or two from some other company, too, so why bother?
Yeah. X-Transbots will, I'm sure, finish theirs off, and then you've got, who's Lemon Tree will do Stunticons that all, turn into aerial bots,
Lemon Party Stunticons. Sounds great.
Yeah.
So just quick, Sarah Stone is still in action. There's a really cool Mandalorian print she just did on her Twitter. It's like the Mandalorian wearing a suit, like a Western suit with a tie. I don't know. It's cool. She's great.
Yeah. No, she was a really awesome artist, and I don't know why she stopped doing it. I remember seeing her at that convention, and like just after the show was over, like hours after the show was over, just chugging away in the lobby, working on commissions, which a lot of artists would just be like, hey, sorry, I couldn't finish this. Here's your money back. I got to go catch a plane. She was a true champ there, just plugging away at trying to get people their artwork done.
I hope the trans fandom did not do her in, because I'm worried that's maybe what happened. She's like, wow, that convention was too much. See ya.
I'm friends with someone who's very good friends with her. So, Phil, if you need some help, maybe I can be of assistance.
I mean, if she does commissions here and there, let me know, and I'd love to get one, because there's been lots of Transformers artists over the years. I can't say that throughout all the ages I've got artwork from all of them, but I'd say I've got a Pat Lee Optimus Prime little quick head sketch. I've got I've got a lot of the bigger ones. What's that?
You got a Pat Lee?
I got a Pat Lee, yeah.
Who drew it, though?
Him himself, literally saw him draw it. So that was, I don't even remember if he was doing the Transformers book yet. I think at that time.
Actually before now, because he did
draw
it.
Yeah, no, because this was when I think he had just done that pinup for Wizard. And it was before that, Dreamwave and everything was a thing. So he didn't even draw Optimus Prime correctly. It almost looks like a younger Optimus Prime because he doesn't have the little flares here, by the cheeks. He drew it from memory, and his memory wasn't 100% accurate at the time.
I wonder where Pat Lee is. We should have Pat Lee on the show.
I think we should. Well, no, we shouldn't. But we should have Sarah on the show if she's available. That'd be a really good TFYLP.
You don't want to put Pat in a dunk tank and just kind of throw things until he falls in?
I mean, yeah, but he's not going to do that. I'm still friends with him on Facebook somehow, so maybe he's going to purge me after this. All right, that was
I'm sure he's watching.
Yeah, I'm sure he is, from China. He's really, really bored and watching this.
He's hiding out in China.
Peter, how you doing over there?
I'm okay. How are you? How are you guys?
Tell me something awesome, man.
I think
we're okay.
You got it in you.
I think we're okay.
I really wanted you to be on the show, and you did not disappoint.
A buddy of mine, I told him I was interested in some stuff, and he went out and he grabbed me what he could find. What is that? Special offer, glow in the dark. What? He got me these really rad Action Masters. They are.
Oh, come on.
They've seen better days. I'm happy for Action Master raw parts.
The sparkless,
the Rusticon.
Those are Rusticon.
There we go.
So we got something.
That's big.
And
wait. Yes, are those?
Where's
shoes?
that flap? Do you guys see a flap crease?
I don't see one anywhere.
I don't see a flap crease.
That looks like it was chiseled out of marble.
Oh, chiseled out of what now? I don't know what this could.
who is it?
Oh no, I don't know. It's just there's nothing. There's nothing. There's a little
Oh,
nothing.
come on, we need to see what's in the front.
It's a Walmart Starscream.
There's nothing in the front. It's not a Walmart Starscream. It's a TM box, just the box with the bubble and no flap crease and pretty nice corners.
Yeah.
And
Holy cow.
so I'm gonna put my pre-rub and cram them in there.
I don't have one of those, so
No.
So
This is go
a
ahead.
TM box. What's that?
TM box. Okay, so for those not in the know, the 1984 releases of Transformers, they didn't have registered trademark on the above the S in Transformers, or the second S in Transformers. They had TM trademark, and then starting midway through '85, they started having the registered trademark, and that is roughly concurrent with when they started adding rub signs to the figures. So, and there was a transitional period where you'll have a rub sign figure in a TM box, like you'll see that on Skids often, and some of the Seekers and Sunstreaker and some of the Autobot cars. So basically anything that came out in '84 was
gray borders versus no gray borders, and
right.
Yeah.
So there are box variants abounding for the
There's
84,
really-
85.
no one will ever have them all, and that's the beauty of it.
And there's always, I won't say always, there every couple of years something new crops up that we didn't know that this was offered with a no gray border. We didn't know that this one showed up in a TM box. Like the Insecticons were ones that were they were 85 figures, but they were in the first season, and they were in TM and R boxes, and that's where you get into with loose samples. It's hard to do because people will peel off a rub sign like, I've got the rare pre-rub sign shrapnel or something. It's like, no, you don't, bud. You pulled a rub sign off, or you found that thing at the flea market. So, but I digress. So I guess this is like a twofer. This will be my last round. So that was Starscream, just a box with
Still real nice.
no flap crease. The bubble's in nice shape. And then I got this guy.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Japan.
So this is the non-reissue original Starscream in the box, and there's nothing cut from it, and it's pretty.
Very cool.
Stickers are applied, and
It's all about that styrofoam, you know?
yeah.
It's all about that styrofoam.
Let me ask you about this, Pete, because I'm having a hard time finding stuff about
Rick,
this.
you missed his other. He had another sinister.
I was listening.
Being to share. Okay, just wanted you to see it. Make sure you see it.
Oh, okay. Well, so, Pete, I have a question, and I can't really find a lot about this. The black borders.
Black border. Is it? What the beans is that?
It's black borders.
Someone took
I
a
see that.
Sharpie.
Is it a TM? Is it an R box? What?
It's an R box. It's an R box sealed
With a black border.
with a black border.
Is there anything else weird about it? Like does it? When you're looking at the tech spec underneath on the copyright stamp, what does it say? Like where was it made? What else does it say?
Made and printed in Japan. 1984.
Does
This
he
is
have a rub sign? Can you see the
only
rub sign?
black border I've seen.
I don't know about black borders. Can you see a rub sign on him?
I can't. I don't think there is one.
Could it be a Chinese?
Nope.
The Chinese stuff had different print on the bottom. They weren't made in Japan.
Okay.
They were made in Macau, I believe.
So I have the assortment number, right?
What's the assortment number? I got those listed.
5758/5766. And it has the letter E in front of it.
For everyone. You know what I love about this crew is like we're showing people why MISB matters and why packaging matters, and you know when it's 30 years later, this stuff is still new and exciting. This is what you got.
Nothing, Pete?
It's Peter.
You said 5766 assortment?
5758/5766. 58/5766.
Okay. Have you run this through the pimps? Because that's the first black border I think I've seen.
It's the only black border I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm shocked that Peter is stumped here because this is, I think that on its own is a pretty big feat.
I'm shocked that I'm stumped.
New
But-
guy's in the back puking his guts out.
I like to think of Peter as an intellectual colleague when it comes to history.
Well,
But we'll move on, and then I think of him as a colleague as far as collecting levels.
Well,
Uh,
Peter, are you ready
all
to
right.
move on? Is this?
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm done. That was it for me.
So we're ready for my big oof.
I appreciate.
Yes.
I
So
appreciate
is this the finale of the night?
It should be. I mean, thanks, Peter. I appreciate the Starscream love. Those are some great pieces. Love that stuff. I don't think I haven't gone down the TM versus R box yet, so
I have been on that for about a decade now, and it's rough.
yeah.
Once you start factoring in the gray borders and the no gray borders and things like that, then it starts like just adding on to the mess that you're in, and it never stops. Because then you've got silverback bubbles versus whiteback bubbles, and it just, you have to make sure that you can at least see sealed samples to know what you're supposed to match with what if you're piecing it all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool though.
All right, so we're ready for my big oof.
Yeah. Should I just
Colony.
Should I just preemptively give you the big oof? I don't know.
All right. Well, I will say this is a pretty rare item that just like through a friend came into my life. He's like, "Hey, I know someone who has this." It's not like he's a high roller or a big collector. He's just like, "Hey, I have a friend who has this. Any interest?"
And you had interest, didn't you? Holy cow!
This is one of the McDonald store displays from the 1985 McDonald's Happy Meal test market run in Cincinnati for 6 McDonald's. This is the actual sign that hung up in one of the 6 McDonald's.
And it looks brand new.
It is super clean, super mint. So it's meant to be put in a light box, so it's vinyl.
Oh,
So
get that light
it's
box.
going to the framers. It's going to the framers tomorrow. Now that Paul has seen it,
Oh, you were waiting on me, huh? Oh.
I was waiting on you to take it to Kimberly. Yeah, so she's getting it tomorrow.
Wow, that is wild.
So
So we have talked about those McDonald Happy Meal toys before, which I did not know were so rare. Did not know they were a specific to Cincinnati market thing. I think
Not Cincinnati, St. Louis. St. Louis.
St. Louis. Okay. Well, I think Peter. I think you grabbed one week when we were doing the show, and you were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I have 17 of them now, I think. There are 24 total.
there's a variant on one.
And there are a couple of them where they have sliding scale in terms of, is this green, is this blue, is this teal, is this periwinkle? I'm not quite sure, sort of thing. But yeah, they're I think we only know Rick, you and I have a mutual friend, and he has all of. He's the only person that I know that has all of them, and he has the box and everything with it.
Yeah. He has a Happy Meal, and then I know somebody else who has the store display. The only other one that's ever showed up. So
I want it.
it was a big oof because I had to trade away something that was unreleased.
But you had more than one of them, right?
It was a big oof.
Well, I'll give you the big oof on that.
I'm very happy with this, and it's going to get framed, and it's going to get stored. And I have 4 or 5 of the McDonald's figures. I know I have 2 sealed in the baggies. I'm not quite sure how many I have altogether, but now it's revitalized me to go on the hunt and make that a priority in over the next 20 years.
So I'm a novice to these McDonald's Happy Meal toys. What does one of them go for these days?
It depends.
You know,
Sometimes you can catch them sometimes you can catch them for $20 a piece. If someone's not paying attention, they'll put Transformers, vinyl gummy whatever dum dum. They'll just name whatever they think they're looking at, and it'll go. You'll find one that'll slip through here, $20 a piece, whatever. But then you've got some like that lot that just went through. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah. Well, something's only worth as much as someone's willing to pay for it. So if it's like if you have 23 and you're missing that 24th figure, what are you willing to pay for it to collect them, to complete them? So $100, $500, $2,000 a piece. It all depends. It's all depends on who's watching, who's got the cash, and what you need for your collection. So to find the figures the figures show up every now and again. I have 2 sealed, which I didn't pay a whole lot for. I think the most expensive one I paid for was $125 for a sealed one. But to have the actual, display that hung in the store, it's different because this might be the only one that exists, right? But I'm like the only jerk who knows about it until I show it, right?
Well, and it's also a very, very small amount of people that would even understand what that is and care.
Right. And again, it's only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. So there's an education piece as well. This is worth, I think, more because more people know about it.
It's also nice that it's a transparency or a light back or whatever you want to call it, because those they just stay nice, They're not made of paper. They're made of kind of a long-lasting material. It's great.
Rick, do you have the story of how the guy you got it from originally acquired it? Was he a McDonald's employee and just had a bunch of that stuff? Is he just a collector of, print stuff like that? How did the person you got it from acquire it?
We'll share that another day.
Okay.
We'll share it another day. But I will say, as I said before, a friend who he's a very close friend. I would die for this man. He's like, hey, I got a friend who has a high-end item, and he knows what it is.
Many Bothans died for that light back display.
Yeah. And
I feel like we should just head down to St. Louis this coming spring, hit up as many garage sales as we can find, and just see if they're still out there.
Dude,
it's not 1994.
Yeah,
I know.
You're an amateur thinking like that.
Yeah.
I'm joking here. I'm making the funnies.
No, you're serious.
I only know one person that has a whole set, and he's a wonderful human being, and I love him. And if I ever decide to sell it, I wouldn't even sell it. I would just give it to him if I ever decide to part with it. Because he is a wonderful human being. So if I ever decide to get rid of it, I would just give it to him.
Very cool.
So, and I'm like really tempted to I want to but we'll see. I'm gonna have it framed, and then it's gonna sit on my wall for a while next to my other stuff. I love art. I love stuff that I can have framed. So
it's just like everything else. You only have so much space.
I know. I know that's a problem. Luckily, I have all my frame stuff going down the main staircase. Luckily, I have a second staircase, and on one side of that staircase is all those jumbo Gentle Giant Star Wars figures. But I'm gonna have to start putting framed shit on the other side.
Fantastic piece. I'm impressed. When you showed it the other day, and I was just like, "What?"
Did it live up to your expectations, Paul?
It definitely wasn't what I expected. So, but it never is with you, Rick. It never is. That's the best part of the whole party. You have stuff that a lot of people don't even know is out there, and that's
everyone's
fun.
Collection is different. Everyone's collection is unique, and there's stuff that people have that I will never have, and vice versa. And the beauty of this particular brand is that I will collect for the rest of my life, however long that is, and I will continually find things from 84, 85, 86, 92, 95, 2000 that I never knew existed.
Yep.
That I will want. And that is the beauty of it. No one can ever have it all. No one should ever have it all. It's the hunt that keeps me going.
I remember the first time I met Nick. Paul and Nick, it was after a convention, a comic book convention, not a Transformers one. And Paul and Nick were spending like 30 minutes debating a Canadian Pepsi Optimus Prime and whether or not that was a rare item that Nick should go after, or it was, but it was, just like, okay, these two dudes are deep in the weeds, far, far deeper than myself.
How'd that make you feel, Phil? Pretty good.
I don't know. I was, again, we're talking about alcohol tonight, so I was getting drunk, so I don't remember.
It is a rare item.
Yeah.
I don't have that. I don't have a Canadian Pepsi Prime.
Funny thing to me.
I have.
Oh, go ahead.
I have a American Prime sealed. That's signed by Cullen. That's cool.
Now, just to be clear, the Canadian one has the big sticker, right? That's what makes it special.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, so the Canadian one, a lot of them were also given out to employees because they didn't. Whatever happened with the promotion didn't quite work out. So a lot of people that worked at Pepsi were just given to them. So for a while, you would find them for $50, $70, $100, and now you find them for. They're still cheaper than the American one. But they're up there. I mean, it's an Optimus Prime figure.
Yeah, they're kind of like those things. Like before the first live action movie came out, there were things that sat on eBay for years that I just had in my watch list. They were ubiquitous. They were there forever. There were multiples of each of these things that just sat, and then the movies dropped, and all the well went dry immediately, and the prices went from it's a $50 thing and a $50 thing and this one's $600. Good luck finding it.
And the opposite happened for Star Wars. So when the special editions came out in the late 90s, everyone went to their attic and brought down their Star Wars stuff. And a Boba Fett figure, which was like $40, dropped down to $15.
Supply and demand, baby. I think in the long run, you probably made out with Star Wars toys because there's far more fans now than there ever were back in the day. And that's sort of the same thing that happened with Transformers.
And at what point? So we've talked about this on the "What Happens When You Die" episode of TFYLP. Tin toys used to sell for $250,000 a pop, but the people who buy tin toys are passing away. So there's not the demand anymore for such a rare item. So what happens when people like us start passing away? Will people who grew up with Beast Wars or Cyberverse want an 84 Starscream?
Yes, because jets are cool.
And robots are cool. And if a
knows?
robot turns into a jet,
Who knows?
But those are pretty bad jet robots compared to what you could get today.
It's like you're starting to see it now in 12-inch GI Joes from the 60s, where they used to be at a certain price, and now they've come down a lot. Is it because the brand's not popular, or is it because the people who are collecting those figures are now at a more advanced age and don't have that income?
I think for Joe, it's a double whammy because the brand is in bad shape, and the 12-inch Joes, the people that are collecting back in the 60s and 70s, yeah, they're getting on. So
yeah, my dad is a big train guy. Paul, your dad, we've talked about this, is big into that too, and he goes to his train club down the street on the weekends, or at least he did in pre-COVID times, and there's dudes dropping $2,000 on big giant engines that are shiny and make smoke and all kinds of fun stuff. But it's like, the average age of the dude in those train clubs is probably 65, 70. And so, yeah, what happens when that generation passes on. You know, that $2,000 engine will likely not go for that. You know, when that's sold as part of an estate.
Well,
Does it
and
become?
it's not too far from now for us, being 65
No, it's
or
not.
something. You know, it's like it'll just be like, oops, here I am.
Shit, I remember going to finding Beast Wars figures in the stores, and now it's like, oh, Beast Wars are coming back.
It's been 25 years since Beast Wars showed up in stores. Shit.
There's like still one random KB in a mall that still hasn't closed. That's just, you know, it's like a ghost of a store that every full moon it appears and you can find old Beast Wars toys on the shelves.
Sounds like
It's got G.I. Joe Manimals on the shelf.
Oh, that's
Aliens
fun
toys.
with that. That is one thing that I do like.
Yeah,
I do have
Aliens,
over
Predators.
Paul as I have. So
Right.
me being physically close to Paul, I get to go to more like things with him, like C2E2 in Chicago, and like we'll just be walking through a vintage toy booth at C2E2, and like I'll point to something like, Paul, do you know what this is? He's like, no, I have no idea. I'm like, that's a GI Joe. He's like, what? It's like one of the space monster mutant things, and he's like, his knowledge of it is just like whatever. Like we were at this vintage toy store a few months ago. And I was like, Paul, do you know what that is? And he's like, I don't know, a big ship. Like, that's the USS Flag. Like, do you know, like, where that stands in, like, terms of the...
I know what the fucking USS Flag is. A Manimal, I might not know what it is. Now you're making shit up. I don't know why, but
Paul,
it's great.
I'm building my own flag, right? You know that, right?
You mentioned that, yes.
I've seen a photo. You're basing it off of the not Renegades. What's the other one? Resolute.
Resolute.
Yeah.
Well, it's got the footprint of the original, but then I added the Resolute launch pads, and then the tower is circular, like.
You got
like
the
the Resolute
Daedalus and the
tower.
Prometheus. Is that what it is? Like the SDF
Yeah,
one?
so I'm 3D printing the cannons right now, but
Please make a 1-to-1 scale Macross. That would be
it's
delightful.
getting there.
There it is.
Holy cow.
So the tower's in the paint mode right now,
That's so cool.
but it's getting there.
Well, the show, I mean, we did 3 rounds in less than an hour and a half. That was quite good, I would say. You know, for four dudes that like to talk. I would like to pose a question. It's either going to be off air or on air, but it's about selling toys, so kind of related, and it's related to super oofs. So would you mind if I brought this up? It's about how to sell them or the methods of selling. And Rick, I hope we didn't lose you, but
He's frozen.
He looks like he's lost in
The
translation.
curse of the beast machines.
Yeah. Well, so some of these items we talked about are kind of like one of a kind, very rare, unreleased. All these things fit. I consider them. A lot of the things we talked about tonight are almost out of the fringes of regular collecting. You know, it's kind of to the super collecting phase. Artwork, you know, is all one of a kind. Kind of fits there. You know, the sort of the paraphernalia, if you want to call it, some of the printed work that you had, Peter, I think also kind of fits outside of the regular toy collector, because it's not toys, it's toy tertiary, if you will.
It's merch.
Yeah. It's hard to find, though. And if you know, when you want something, and that's important. And so specifically, when you have a toy that's unreleased, but was supposed to be released, that's up there. Like, a lot of people might want that thing because it's almost like their line. You know, it's like you could get everything that was ever released, but like, can you get the unreleased stuff? That's why some of the G2
Like,
stuff.
They feel cheated. They're like, oh, they were supposed to release that line of whatever the hell, all spark power blah blahs at Target, and everyone has them now. Who wants them? The little, Cybertron redecos and Energon redecos.
Yeah, like those.
The little guys. Yeah.
So when those came up, there was a lot of them. Like, they were all created.
Yeah, they were made. They were packaged, cased, and ready to go. And then the line got, and then they just started showing up on the aftermarket. Like someone walked home with a couple of pallets.
If I remember, they were on Taobao. Oh, we lost Rick, so it's a triptych again, FYI, so you might want to be in the middle. I guess my question I'm posing is, say you come across one of these very rare items. I don't know how much you paid for it, and you want to sell it. how would you sell it? How do you think what's the appropriate method to sell a one of a kind piece that only?
Are we talking about Sideways Sneak Attack?
Maybe.
We're talking about Sideways Sneak Attack. Okay, so there's an item up on Facebook right now called the Sideways Sneak Attack, which was supposed to be, as I recall, a Toys R Us or Kmart, whatever, exclusive back in 2010, 2011. And it had listings wherever, and it was ready to go. It was going to be a Sideways figure, movie Sideways with the RC triplets, and then
the little guys,
the little baby RCs, yeah. And then it never came out. And one of them showed up this week, and whoever the toy and one other piece, which was supposed to get a U.S. release but didn't, and it ended up being released in the UK. They walked themselves into a toy store in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and just like, here they are. So the guy at the store was like, "What are these? Are they rare? How should I sell them, and what should I sell them at?" Which is just a strange thing to ask.
Especially if you run a toy store.
Bingo. So,
you sell toys every day.
You should, maybe not put it out in a Facebook post. Like, say, hey, masses, what is this worth to you guys?
I mean, I guess my point of bringing this up is I'm all about getting the money your stuff is worth. But if you own a toy store and you have something you know is rare and you play dumb on the fucking internet, like, that's not a very... You're doing yourself and everyone around you a disservice.
So here's what I'll say to that, Paul. I have no knowledge of this story, no knowledge of this specific toy store. But what I do know is that in the past 2 years, I know of 4 small collectible toy stores that have opened up in Chicagoland. And when I say in Chicagoland, 3 of them are within a 20-minute drive of my house. Actually, I know 5. Not 3 that are in 20-minute drive of my house. Another 2 that have opened up in the city itself in the last year.
If you want to drop,
if you want
to drop the names, that's fine with me.
I'm not like talking about those stores.
Mr.
What
Wayne.
I do know, an awesome store.
Yeah.
But what my point to all of this is, some of the guys who run those stores know what they're doing. Some of them know certain toy lines. Like, they know Pops. Do they know things beyond Pops? Do they know things about vintage toys? And I will say a lot of the newer toy stores I'm seeing, the vintage stuff is, and this isn't even what I would really say vintage, but the rare item like that, they just don't know, because they're going after the sort of mass retail toy buyer who is into the new Pops or into the new Hot Toys. They don't necessarily know about, all right, what is this thing? I can find, like, I just Googled it. I didn't really, off the top of my head know what it was. So I Googled it and found pictures pretty quickly of it. But beyond that, like, then, how do you price something like that? Yeah, I would say that some of these newer toy shops probably don't know how to do that sort of thing. And yeah, I mean, if I came across something like that, I would probably do, first and foremost, word of mouth, and then, word of mouth, with the higher end collectors that I knew didn't work, then go to a direct, not eBay route, but a direct route with some of the harder core fans, and a Facebook page is a place to get that. Now, are you going to get laughed at a little bit by some folks? Sure, but hopefully you do get a few decent offers.
Why would you get laughed at? I think you're skipping over some of the details.
You're getting laughed at for the same reason you're kind of, scoffing at the person right now, because you're like, hey, man, you own a toy shop. You should know what you're doing. You should know how to do this.
Well, I haven't finished the details. Peter was doing a pretty good job.
So you haven't finished it, so maybe I'm jumping the gun.
I'm guessing based on Paul's line of questioning, I'm guessing that this is where he's going with it. So I'm just trying to get ahead of the story here.
Sure.
And I saw the initial post. He's like, I have this and I have this other thing, which is from the UK. Are they worth anything? Blah, blah, blah. And everyone's like, PM. I've PM'd you. I've sent you an offer, blah, 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 blah.
He asked for offers.
He asked for offers, but he also asked for like a vague, like a general what do you guys think, sort of thing. And then that line of questioning went away, and then he actually posted the listing for the rarer item.
Right.
I just wonder if mass Facebook group, knowing how some of these Facebook groups are, is the best way to go.
It's not the best way. I would certainly say it's not the best way, but what might, what happens in what I can see happening in that, and again, I don't know the situation, and you can tell me, Paul, what actually did happen, is that, all right, you start getting all these messages and you start to figure out, like, all right, you're going to get a lot of low balls. You'll probably get a few folks that offer you real value. So it's like, all right, here's the top 10% of the offers I got. I'm going to, and those guys are even probably trying to lowball me a little bit. So I'm going to price it at 25% higher than the top 10% prices that I got, knowing that the dudes who really want it will probably pay that because, hey, they know it, they now know it exists. If they were going to pay $1,000, what's another $200? So that's, I mean, you don't look like the savviest, business person in that kind of environment, but you still might get a good price for it.
Sure, and like I said, you should get your money, but only if you know what your money should be. And knowledge is power. And so basically by asking for offers, you're gauging, you don't have to accept anything. And there's no, well, there is some right and wrong. I'm going to get there. But I guess the thing that bothers me is when someone asks for offers, you give them your offer with the intention to buy it, correct? So if the person then says, okay, you are now entered into an auction and there's other bidders and I would like you to know, and oh, by the way, this bidder just outbid you, and this is all done through Facebook PM. I didn't sign up for a motherfucking auction from some dude I don't know. Please. Actually, I didn't stop. I wanted to see how far it went. And I just thought it was pretty foolish. And so, I think the rule should be, if you're a seller, you should know what you want to get for your product. You know what you paid for it. And however, your markup, whatever. Just know what you need. And that's the risk involved with pricing your product. You might have something that a guy like Rick really wants, a guy like me really wants, a guy like Peter or yourself, Phil. You might be able to catch that, but if you don't have the knowledge and the understanding of how to do that, going fishing is one way, but once I knew that, I would say my offer was fair. It was lower than what he went for, but you know why? Because now he knew.
Yeah.
Now he knew because he was fishing and I gave him, a medium fish. Sure.
You tugged on his bobber.
I did. And that's fine. That's the way it works, but I just thought it was pretty sad. And it turns out I was bidding against a friend of mine. That's the way it goes. And I asked the person, like, okay? I go, oh, okay, you're gonna auction this? And you just told me the mod said you can't do an auction, but you're doing it. So what the fuck's wrong with you? Why don't you put it on eBay? And they said, oh, because I don't want to pay the fees. Like,
well, then you mark it up that much more. I mean,
of course you don't want to pay the fees, buddy.
He had every opportunity, now that I know that it went that direction, because I didn't send an offer. I watched the public comments and saw what people were saying. Oh, it should be worth this and it should be worth that. And I was like, I'd probably pay that.
Right.
Whatever. And then it went away and I stopped paying attention to it. And then I guess the algorithm took it away, or I don't know if he took the actual post down. But then I saw the repost.
Yeah, he finally put up with a price. This is the way you're supposed to do it, but now he kind of, he did his due diligence.
His homework, yeah.
Basically, everyone priced themselves out of it for themselves, which, that's the way it goes. That's just, I guess I'm saying as a collector, you might want to avoid situations like that.
That's one of those pieces, that and there was some other, there were two of those gift sets that were supposed to come out in the U.S. that didn't, and they sat open on Schmax for years. and years and years and years, and I couldn't check them off because where the hell are they? And they were never officially, because Hasbro will say like, oh, that's not coming out.
Yeah, like
Someone will
the
ask about it at a show.
Megatron set you're talking about with the Constructicons.
There were a couple. Yeah, there were a couple of them from that was from Autobot Alliance, Nest, something the Decepticon. What was that line called? It was that in between line after Revenge of the Fallen before Dark of the Moon. Hunt for the Decepticons, yeah, HFTD. Yeah, it was one of those sets, and it was just like, arg, I want that. And then, hey, it exists, neat. Yeah. I want that.
It was cool. I mean, I bring it up because this was kind of it's timely, and I wish we had Rick still on, because I think he would say that this is not the right way to sell something either. But I guess the reason I bring it up is because with some of these super hard to find items, especially these like unreleased but legit things, sometimes screwy things happen. Screwy things happen like this where it's happened to me with a few items where I thought I was going to get something and someone else swoops in and kind of, they don't steal it from you, but if you thought you were paying a fair price and they know about it, they're willing to outbid you, they're going to. So
I want to tell a personal story about this. I was living in Qatar at one point, and I was talking with someone about buying a piece, a particular piece that I was like chasing for a long, long time, and I didn't realize that my contract was about to end. It ended pretty abruptly, and I had already like closed the deal and like was like, we were good to go. I'm gonna buy this thing, and oh shit, my contract just ended. So I had to like scramble my last month that I was there to make sure that my finances were lined up, and I had to tell the seller something came up. I got to bail on this deal, and I felt horrible about it because I've been kind of working on him for a little bit, and so sell it to the next guy, and he did, and then the next guy got the piece, and it was a beautiful piece, and everyone was happy. And then I got an invitation. I got an invitation to come visit someone and like meet him and hang out at his house. He invited me. He had it was like a convention at his house.
Why are you doing this?
And he had me come over, and I had my family with me. I was there for a work trip, and my family was with me. It was really cool. And prominently displayed in his living room was this piece, and I was like pressing my face against it and just so in love with it and drooling at it. And
I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that particular seller had multiples of this piece, so I'm not sure.
But the timing is right there, well, February 2016, and yeah.
Well, it's just funny how paths cross in this world. I'm
not dissatisfied. I'm not dissatisfied.
Yeah.
I think, Paul, let me go back to your story. That seller selling that sideways sneak attack probably burned some bridges, but at the end of the day, did he get the price he was looking for?
He did.
Did it sell?
He says it sold, yes.
Yeah. Okay. He can't do that again. He can't come back to that same community, again. But he got his price.
He did.
So
and we're not here like I am not here to out this person or anything like that, because like I said, yeah, all's fair in love and war in the end. All I'm being is, I wanted the piece, I put in an offer, but I'm used to dealing with someone's like, I need it to be higher than that. Like, okay, and you work with the person, kind of like what you were saying, Peter. And as far as I know, in the situation you were discussing, Peter, with that particular item, it was not like what I'm discussing. It wasn't like,
right. No, it
you're
wasn't
gonna buy
like
that. Someone just said they buy this, so I want to know.
No,
if
it wasn't like that. I'm just talking about, sometimes you're chasing things and then they just kind of, like you had mentioned, it feels like, the swooping. No, I didn't think this is a swoop situation. I just got myself into a bad situation, and then the deal had to fall apart by necessity. But yeah, there's always that feeling of just like, oh, I missed it. Damn. When you lose out on something like that. And whether it was, you're bidding on something and you didn't realize you were in an auction, or you just missed on a sale. Because there have been things where, like, I've overslept I slept through my alarm and missed that snipe bit at the end of whatever it was, and you feel like a
Like you were snoozing.
yeah,
literally,
literally, yeah.
literally snoozing. Yeah, yeah. Like these rare things, they're hard to find. If you want to get it, you gotta sometimes you gotta play dirty. I like to think I'm beyond that, but I haven't had a piece where I've felt like I needed to have it more than someone else in a long, long time. But if someone wants it more than you, you might be in trouble. So sometimes it's good to keep a sale, like something you're interested in, to yourself and not tell anyone about it till it's time to buy
Till,
it. Or till you
yep,
have it.
until you have it, yeah. Because even if yeah, well, there was something. Oh, it was actually a DairyCon piece. Someone in another Facebook group, this is a couple of years ago, came across something. Kind of like the sideways sneak attack. Oh, this walked into my shop and I don't know what it is. Is it worth blah blah blah? And I just shot him hey, I'll give you blah for this. And he's like, oh, okay. But apparently a bunch of other people had done the exact same thing, and I can't find it now, guys. You just posted a picture of it on. You lost it just now. And then it showed up on eBay like 30 seconds later. And 30 seconds is being hyperbolic, but it showed up on eBay almost immediately at a price way higher than. I don't remember what it was, though.
I mean, sellers with integrity know what they're dealing with, and the ones that don't are kind of the amateurs, perhaps. And, when I realized I was in a bidding, an auction with this person, I just stopped responding. It was comical how many messages I got afterwards. But, it's just unseasoned buyers or collectors can get swept up in it, and it's just if you made it this far in the episode, hopefully you learned something. It's kind of the dark side of collecting, but it can also be a source of a lot of fun. Just got to protect yourself, and as a collector, know what you're willing to pay versus and that's why buyers should know or sellers should know what they want to sell for. That's my 2 cents. Oof.
On that point about getting swept up, that's when you see a lot of people get burnt out completely.
Yeah.
Is they start riding that wave and they're riding and they keep buying and buying and buying and buying, and then they realize they're completely underwater, and then sell all of it.
Yeah, because like you overpay for like 10 big pieces in a row, and then you gotta get that money back. Like you're losing a lot of money because you gotta sell that stuff quick, and other people are gonna swoop in because you're putting your price up. Because you need to get that stuff done. Those sellers they always have their list with all their prices, and that's the way it should be done. So you just know everyone's in agreement; they know what they're doing. So, anyways, thanks for listening. We lost Rick, but he did great tonight. Showed some really cool pieces. So did everybody. Peter and Phil, thanks for sharing. And it's a Starscream party tonight. I don't know if that was a dig at me or if it was just poking fun, because I love seeing that stuff. It's great.
Yeah. When you said it was the big oofs, I was like, I just interpret that as like my big oofs in the last couple of months, and those are the things that I bought. Aside from there are a couple other things I purchased that I haven't shown off yet or talked about, and we'll get to those.
I think everything fit the bill. There's no rules even when there's rules. So, but even you totally killed it. So thank you. Thanks for being a part of it. I know you haven't been on the show in a while, so. But if you do want to see more of Peter, he has been on TFYLP on Monday nights recently with some really good topics. I think our last topic, I'm blanking right now. It was about
Action Masters and Super 7,
which was my topic, but I was not on the show, so that's how it goes. Then we have Microcasters on Tuesdays, new toy reviews from the 3 Microcasters. You can find that on Facebook. And, Oof My Wallet every other Wednesday, if not every Wednesday, although I will not be hosting for much longer because I'm going to have the biggest oof of all. So be prepared.
A human being.
A human. And our other partner tonight, Rick, usually has a show on Friday or Saturday. It's called Cut the Tape. And it's where he takes an old toy or even a new toy and opens it up. I like it when he takes the really old ones that, just tugs on my heartstrings when I see him cutting that tape. because that's like 25-year-old tape. But nothing can stop him. So look for that on our YouTube channel, Fridays and Saturdays. And Anna's Book Club is a good time on the TF Talk Discord. It's a voice channel only show where everyone kind of discusses a story that was predetermined. This week it's going to be Robots in Disguise from the IDW run 17 through 19. Does anyone remember what story was going on then?
That was post Attack on the City after they locked up Megatron, but before Dark Cybertron. So it was after the election.
So was that Prowl Devastator?
That was just after Prowlestator.
Okay.
And the winner of the election, is this a spoiler?
I don't think we should say that's up for the people in the book club. Let them listen there.
Someone wins the election. You better read through it.
They're still contesting it. The voting machines, which are transformers that actually turn into voting machines, Diminitron. There was some shadiness with Diminitron.
Did they storm Iacon at the end? I don't remember.
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure this podcast is now getting sued for $1.3 billion.
Oh, really? Great.
My face is melting.
Well, we look forward to the lawyer bills. I would love to be seen in court for that. We will be closing out tonight. Thank you very much. It's me, Phil, Peter, and Rick, who is no longer with us, but hopefully still alive. So we will see you next week, hopefully. Back to our regular show. No super oofs needed. Speaking of which, I'm going to leave you with the big oof. Have a great night, everybody. I am very purple.